The setting finds and prejudice bolts and other dreary words you know. Let's get happy. But they are making out. The people with a smile out of doubt to first screen, give us a and shout. Let's get happy. There's much to reconsider this now. Should have done it better. Just goes to show that lying to me and how you really should know it's never too late to get off.
Hey Cure fans, this is Gavin. Welcome to another tour update episode. Just a little mini newsreel for you guys. Not a proper episode, but let's dive into it. A lot's been going on the Lost World tour since we last left last week. We left off right before Halloween on Sunday there. We hadn't quite covered the Munich show, so we had about 5 shows since we last saw The Cure on our little world anyway, and they've been quite epic shows. It's been a crazy week. Halloween was awesome. We had tons of great shows throughout Europe, including Munich and Bologna in Italy, and Firenze in Italy, and Padova and Milan today on Friday, November 4th. So let's try to just cover the tidbits of what we had. I jotted down some notes throughout the week. You know, obviously there wasn't that much I could really report on from over here, but I felt like we got to keep this thing rolling and document what we can for each show, if not for us, for the future generations, right? How cool would that be if people can look back on this and hear our excitement of what happened almost in real time. So shall we continue, if you will? We'll keep it short and sweet. So let's backtrack. Before Halloween, we started things off, and it was Saturday night, October 29th in Munich, Germany. Rumors going around, like beforehand, I guess the sound check kind of got some rumors leaked out. They're like, they've sound checked Faith and a new song that nobody could place. So that was pretty cool that was thrown out there. So we're like, Faith, holy shit, it's finally happening. They're going to play Faith again. And it didn't quite happen in Munich. So that was a bit of a teaser, it turns out, for the Munich crowd. They did play At Night and Strange Day in the main set, even though those weren't debuts. It was good just to have them in the main set pattern we've started to see forming from that cool dark Encore 1. After they get kind of debuted there, they tend to drift into the main set again, which is kind of awesome. And we'll see this throughout these stretch of shows in particular, just how cool they are being about changing up the set list in the main set anyway. And you know, even though it's starting to look very like standard format, there's little shifts here and there, so you're not getting the exact same thing every night. So that's super rad, of course. So At Night, A Strange Day, drifting into the main set, and bound to be crowd pleasers for everybody there. The crowd was singing Happy Birthday, apparently, to Roger after Lullaby in the pop encore at the end. So that's pretty cool. An official late happy birthday to Roger out there. Pretty awesome for him spending his birthday in Munich, and hope it was a good one. So we didn't get to send him an official Holy Hour Instagram birthday wish because that was the night of my party. So I'm sure he was heartbroken, but for the most part, on behalf of all of us, happy late birthday, Roger. So the big debut that night, though, was doing the Unstuck. What? And that debuts in the pop encore. Did that? Oh no, I need to double check. Did that replace Friday in Love? Or did they just add it in? Let's see if I can backtrack to that real quick while I'm talking to you guys. I normally don't like to do this stuff on the air, but how cool was that? And you know, always cool to see doing the Unstuck in there. And they changed it up and threw it into the pop encore like we've been saying. Why aren't they just kind of shifting out other big singles for these 7 songs that they are really sticking to for the finale? But no, and as I look at it now, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that night. Is it 9? 1, 2, 3, 4. 7, 8, yeah, 9 that night. They threw Doing the Unstuck in there, and yeah. Oh, and a forest was bumped down. That's a weird placement. Yeah. So that was a weird little twist for Munich. We got Doing the Unstuck debut, which was rad. Has it been played since? I'm not sure. We'll come back to that. So Doing the Unstuck, and then they bumped a forest all the way down. That almost seems like there had to have been a reason for that. That might be the oddest placement of a forest in Cure history. It was in between Just Like Heaven and then a forest, then Boys Don't Cry for the finale. So that little beautiful trio of pop hits in between days, Just Like Heaven, Boys Don't Cry, had a forest thrown into it. At that point, why not just put forest like totally last? Very strange. So who knows? It's almost like they were like, oh, we forgot to play forest. Put that in. All right, but we still got to play Boys Don't Cry. Very odd, but who knows? And I guess it doesn't really have to be a rhyme or reason for any of this. But so yeah, Munich definitely got a weird little twist there. Their dark encore was very straightforward too. They got the I Can Never Say Goodbye new song with Plain Song and Disintegration combo. So that's very cool. Yeah, and just a solid list. The 28 songs for that one. And of course, all the new songs held solid in their placements as usual. Alone kicked it off, end song ended the main set, and Nothing Is Forever is tucked neatly behind Love Song still, as we were speculating in the last batch. And I Can Never Say Goodbye is kind of holding the fort there as the opener of the Encore 1. So pretty cool. Seemed like a great show in Munich. Sorry you guys didn't get Faith, but if you traveled the next night or 2 nights later, you were in luck. Dun, dun, dun. Let's move on. Monday night, actual Halloween. This is the one that we're like, oh, how cool would it be? Go to Italy for Halloween, Bologna. And this one's rad because I watched this one about a day later. There's a full video stream of this one up that you can check out, and it's pretty good footage and sounds great, so you can put it on while you're just chilling doing something else and relive the magic, because this might be the one I was leaning towards. Is pretty prime awesome set there that would be a tempting one that I would have wanted to see. This lineup, I think, of songs just was the one that hit for me. I was like, whoa, and it was Halloween. How cool would that have been? Robert seemed pretty chatty watching the video on this one. He was pretty early on. Even he was just kind of making the occasional comment or two after each one. Never officially any Halloween jokes or anything that I had seen, but yeah, maybe he just was caught up in the Halloween spirit or something. But it did seem like a dark, magical Halloween show in a sense that there was a pretty heavy block there. That seemed pretty rad. A killer string of tunes at night. Let's see, where was it? Number 6. So after the new song and Nothing Is Forever, it goes At Night, then A Strange Day, then Hanging Garden, then Last Day of Summer into Cold. So I mean, from 6 to 10 there, you got some pretty dark or just heavy, cool motion songs that that really hit the spot for me. And even from there, that goes into like Burn and then Push. So just keeps it rolling, man, with fucking solid list right there. So I would have loved that. We all have our little things, but yeah, something that might be worth mentioning too. Roger on Hanging Garden. I wasn't sure about this until I listened back, and he's playing a lot of extra notes on that one. So I'm gonna just leave that on the table, and we can take that as you will. But maybe he just was feeling a little extra spry from his birthday or something. But yeah, it seems like a lot of extra piano-y notes going on Hanging Garden that I didn't remember being in there. And the other ones, I'm sure it was like that on all the ones that they've played on this tour anyway. But yeah, I don't know if that's a new adjustment. It felt very like, okay, I'll have to listen to this a couple times to hear, or maybe I have to be there in person. That was diplomatic, wasn't it? So Burn sounded brilliant as always too, to round out that little Halloween block there. But the big moment of the night came in Encore 1 when it kicked off with I Can Never Say Goodbye, the very emotional, awesome new song, and then followed by Faith. So they must have been testing it out the night before at the sound check. Faith played for the first time since 2011, since before my dear little boy Henson was even born. It's been a while for sure. And man, it sounded great. I loved it. It sounded so good. And followed that by A Forest, which we've often said, how do you follow Faith with anything? But it actually worked surprisingly well, so what do we know? A Forest sounded good coming out of it, and made a tidy, or a pretty epic, but 3-song encore. And then for Encore 2, was our standard 7 songs again, so we're back to our lullaby through Boys Don't Cry, and on that night, they apparently sound checked Like Cockatoos and Hot Hot Hot, Faith, a new song that nobody knows, and In Between Days. So some maybe foreshadowing there, but we still haven't seen Like Cockatoos, and Hot Hot Hot. What? We haven't heard that yet on this tour. And then this new song, another new song. So let's see what happens as we move on from Halloween. But yeah, check our Facebook page for this. I'll just put it on our Facebook page and a link. But if you just go to YouTube, you can find it pretty easily. And I believe it was the next show has an extended full version 2 on there. So I haven't watched that one yet. But Tuesday night now, November 1st. We're kicking off November, and we're still in Italy, technically Florence, Italy. But Firenze, as I believe it's pronounced, is where this concert took place. And guess what? Faith is played again for the second night in a row. And of course, it's the Encore 1, so I'm jumping ahead. But it sounded excellent again on the videos that I heard. It was once again put in between the new song I Can Never Say Goodbye and A Forest, and sounding great. I'm loving that they're keeping it very album-like, where they're not doing the rock out version of Faith, even though, I know a lot of people really love the extended Faith, even if it goes into forever and it drags on. I kind of like it. I think it works best, just in my opinion, when it's it's pretty long and dramatic song anyway, so we don't really need to build it up and break it down and build it up again. So I don't know, I'm happy to just see them kind of play it, and it feels more In Orange-esque that way. So I'm loving it. Charlotte Sometimes and At Night, Hanging Garden are in the main set, so they're kind of the mystery darker ones shuffled in there at least, but otherwise it's looking like the pretty standard one where it goes from Pictures of You into Close Down into A Night Like This. So yeah, let's jump ahead to Encore 2 then, because this Encore 2 doesn't get too many wrinkles in it, and we got a surprise there again, breaking away from the 7 classic pop jams. We got Hot 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 thrown in there right after Lullaby, so making its tour debut. It sounded cool as hell. I was down, even though I'm not technically the biggest fan of Hot Hot Hot. Still happy they chose that over Why Can't I Be You, but seems like a good spot for it, don't you think? And man, so Encore 2, I think this is the only time it's played so far in this batch, but maybe they'll bring it back again. I'm not sure what possessed that. Maybe whenever in Italy you gotta play Hot Hot Hot. Who knows? But I'm glad it's in there, and they're still surprising by shuffling up that second encore again. So let's move on again to Italy. We're still in Italy. Padua, or Padova, as I've heard it pronounced both ways. Both much smoother than what I just did, I'm sure, but seems like a cool Cool city. Let's see. No debuts to speak of necessarily. Was that today? No, that was yesterday. No debuts. Solid set list I jotted down. Notably, again, some of those darker tunes made it into the main set list. So we had Strange Day, Drowning Man actually had been kind of reserved for that darker Encore 1, but now it was number 9, right after Strange Day, which flows good into Push to kind of break back into some pop jams. 100 Years is for the third time dropped into the main set, so that's cool, or for the third time played on this tour. And not the finale song though, it's second to last, right before end song. So 100 Years sounded pretty rad, and always cool to see that back in, especially after we just talked about it in that last Halloween episode. And 39 is back in the shuffle. I feel like we hadn't seen that one in a little while, but that one's back for a quick little hello. So it's good to know that for the most part, when one of these do pop out for a few, they are coming back, so that's cool. I Can Never Say Goodbye, Cold at Night, and Disintegration for Encore 1. While no debuts or anything, that's a pretty solid ass encore though, so you gotta love that combo. Yeah, and like I said, I think I mentioned it in the last one, a few clips I've seen of Disintegration, they've seemed like at least vocally he's kicking back the enthusiasm level and taking it up there with the vocals again, so it's cool to see a more passionate renditions of Disintegration. I think they're still keeping it fairly same tempo, not going into Boris mode yet by any means, but sounding good. I'm digging the recordings I've heard of, little samples or whatever on YouTube. So do we have anything else for that one? Back to the standard pop encore for Encore 2. Yeah, so we're back to the Magnificent Seven, I think we can officially call these, and that's where they're at. So that when the water's calm, you can expect Encore 2 to be pretty solid. There's a note here on setlist.fm of the songs that were sound checked for that one. They did do other voices. Have they done other voices yet? Losing track now. I don't think they have. A Night Like This, Where the Eagles Dare, Iron Maiden cover, bass only. So I guess that's not the Misfits one, I guess. Prayers for Rain, Charlotte Sometimes, Johnny Man, 2 new songs in 39. So maybe there's a couple new songs they still want to drop as we move on. But still no Like Cockatoos. Usually we've seen that kind of pattern here. So that is after we saw Hot 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 being test run in a sound check, and Faith was test run in the sound check. They would later appear a couple days later in the set. So maybe Like Cockatoos could be on deck. Other voices, both of those don't seem like huge surprises. And a couple new songs. So let's see. Shall we move on to our 5th and final show of this tour update? Let's do it, man. What are we waiting for? Friday, November 4th, Milan, Italy. And this is another pretty solid one, I gotta say. This one looked pretty rad too. A similar set to what we've seen in the sense, but just how cool is that they're still shuffling around these sets, even just in the slightest, to make sure you're not seeing the exact same thing, because how lame would that be if you knew exactly what song was coming next? Cold at Night, Charlotte Sometimes are sprinkled into the main set, kind of in that mystery block era. It seems about like through 6 through 11 or so can be kind of shuffled around sometimes, and that's what's going on tonight in Milan. The 13th song, though, again, we have a weird kind of placement of a forest, so that was odd. We got Play for Today into a forest as the 12th song played, 12 out of 16, so that's a little odd. But then following a forest, dun, 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 we have a premiere of a new song, the 5th new song
This is the next song is a song we've never played before ever. It's another new song. It's called A Fragile Thing.
And it's rad. It's a peppier tune. It has a cool groove to it. It feels very personal still, so it could fit on the album and with the others that we've heard. On the first clip I'd heard, and again a shout out to our buddy Eric up in Canada, is hooking me up with some quick clips there. I tried to do the streaming and it wasn't going, and I kind of just gave up on it for the night as we went out to dinner. But he was keeping me posted and sent a clip. The first one I heard, though, it sounded really poppy on that one, almost to the point where I was like, oh wow, I wonder if like this song isn't even on, this Doom and Gloom album, if it's from the other new album, the more poppy one. Wouldn't be totally insane if he says that they're that as done as they are. He could sprinkle a few of those in too, but once I heard a better quality clip that Eric again sent later in the evening, I got a better read on it, and I felt like it could totally fit in with those other ones. Like I said, it still felt very personal and while peppier and more upbeat, which is awesome because it would add a little bit more energy to the album and would be great. So that was kind of cool that it does have some variety a bit more if these are all part of the same album. And then I also reminded myself that chances of hearing this pop album at this point are very unlikely anytime in my lifetime, so I should just get that out of my head immediately. But like I said, I think this would fit on the new Doom and Gloom album still too. It was very just a cool song. I've only heard it a few times now, but it seemed like it had a cool groove to it, very listenable, but more just like I love the fact that we already know that this album, if they are all on together on one, is 5 songs now, and it's great. They all sound really cool, and I would want to listen to them numerous times, so that's pretty rad to know. Almost half of the album probably is listenable and enjoyable and already digging it, so how cool is that, man? It just makes us all really want the album a lot more. So let's get this thing out. But fuck yeah, let's add A Fragile Thing to every set list from here on out, because these new ones have been awesome that way. When they appear, they're sticking in there. So maybe it's all building up to the slow build-up of when they get to Wembley, they're going to play the whole album. Oh, I bet they are. So that's going to be awesome in its entirety, then the whole shebang of other stuff. That'd be cool. All right, let's not totally dwell on that. Encore 1 continues to be awesome. Even though there weren't any debuts in that, it was I Can Never Say Goodbye, The Figurehead, and Faith and Disintegration. So that was a cool combo I don't think we've seen yet. And wow, those 3 songs in a row, Figurehead, Faith, and Disintegration, followed by this super epic new song, that was a very powerful encore. And you kind of have to go to the old standard pop encore after that just to recover mentally, probably. Poor Robert. But we finish up with the Magnificent 7 again, and I feel like I've seen numerous posts. I said it even earlier with maybe that Halloween show, but I've just seen random people as these shows have been coming out throughout the week. People saying, "Oh, this was the best one yet. This is the best one yet," and that's pretty rad. And I love seeing people get excited about it and realizing how cool this tour is going, and appreciating the insane variety and effort that the band's putting in at this point for everybody. What are we, like 20 shows in at this point? I think this is the 20th show, and they're still dropping little nuggets and surprises in there for everybody. So we're only about 3 shows away from the halfway mark, and they've played at least one song from every album except what self-titled and 3 Imaginary Boys, surprisingly still. If you don't count Boys Don't Cry, which you shouldn't, I guess. Still haven't played anything from 3 Imaginary Boys. Very odd. But yeah, they got time still. That would be really surprising if they make it through the whole tour without something off of that. But that's pretty rad that they're representing at least one song off of all those as we go. And even the songs that they do drop, Trust is the only one that they've only played once. So, I think that makes all the ones that they've played at this point fair game. I'm not sure what the full tally is at this point on songs. What do we got? Tour statistics. Maybe I can pull it up real quick. Songs, but 45, about 46 it looks like. 46 songs have been played at this point. So yeah, pretty rad. It's a good batch, man. Can you imagine knowing 46 songs to be able to play in front of a stadium, So got to give them credit there. So I think we still have a few more surprises on the way, too. That's the even cooler part. And if nothing else, they're going to keep shuffling this batch around and keep making it fun. So coming up, we go to Switzerland, and then we're off to France and Spain, which is also always a magical time for Cure tours throughout history, it seems. So I don't want to keep you too long. We're almost closing in on a half hour. This isn't even a real episode. I'm just babbling. And thanks for babbling with me. Hopefully you enjoyed some of this recap. And I hope everybody that was out there and at one of these shows really absorbed it all and enjoyed it, because it truly does sound like a magical show. And I'm getting more and more jealous, just to numb the pain at this point. But yeah, so if anybody's even at these shows still too, and you're just glowing, feel free to always send a recap, no matter how long or short. Or if you're going to a show coming up, definitely email it to me, or you can type it up. I'll read it, however you want to do it. I'd love to get some first-hand accounts again from the front lines now, especially on these new songs. And yeah, we love it, and hope you're keeping safe out there. No official new regular episode this week for the bye week, so we'll soak this up, and we'll probably do another recap and another new episode next week. So we got some cool things on the horizon. Did you guys know that there's a 40th anniversary of Let's Go to Bed coming up soon? No, everyone's forgetting about a little Let's Go to Bed, but not us. We're going to do a special on Let's Go to Bed too. So if you have special Let's Go to Bed thoughts or memories, feel free to send those our way. We'll tack it onto the episode we're doing. So until then, take care, and we'll talk soon. Talk hard.